Who were you before the world told you who to be? So, today we're going to talk a little bit about the deep roots that are holding you back from accomplishing what you want to accomplish in your life. And most of the time, this is because we have lost touch as to who we are. We are going through the motions, we are doing the things that we are expected to do, but we are not finding the joy. And the joy is missing in most of our days' lives, and that is what is really bothering me. I want to help you find the joy back in your life and find the freedom and really get into it. So, if you are new to me, I am Stephanie Zima. I am the founder of the Walk It Free mentorship program, where I help women to heal whatever is broken, holding them back, fears, self-sabotage, procrastination, then connect with their authenticity, with their brand image, with who they are at the core, and then finally level up through taking the actions that are needed to really transform your life, not just your business, but your entire life in as little as 12 weeks. Okay, so if you are interested in that, make sure you check out the link up here or somewhere. Check out the link and check it out. Okay, it's really worth it. So today we're going to talk a little bit about who were you before the world told you how and who to be. Okay, do you ever feel like the life that you're living is really not yours? Like you're just going through the motions. You're waking up in the morning and you're going to a job that you hate. You are not having the performance, and you're being at home, and nothing really works out over there, and your marriage is not really working, and your kids are not behaving, and it's just a mundane life that you just cannot bear any longer. Has that ever thought to you, like, has it ever crossed your mind to just wanting to break free of that? I know I have, okay? I know that when I was in that situation, before I started on my transformation journey, when I was in that situation, I was just hating life. I just was unhappy over and over and over, and couldn't find joy. I couldn't find that glimpse of hope, that excitement, that passion that is inside of ourselves, right? That we had when we were a kid. Remember, when you were a kid, you were so excited. You were just like, oh my gosh, I get to play outside and the sun is shining and stuff. You can still have that as an adult, but many of us have lost that spark. Many of us just literally go through the day-to-days and just trying to make things happen, and that's just not a way of living, right? And I want to help you today to kind of connect a little bit back with who you were as a child. So try to think back. When did you stop choosing yourself? Think back here. When exactly did you stop choosing yourself? Can you remember? Can you pinpoint? Was it at 5 years old? Was it at 10 years old? Was it at 15 years old? Like, was it as an adult? Where exactly was it at? So, kids stop choosing who they are. Usually it's kids, right? Kids stop choosing who they are originally because they learn early on in their life that being themselves might not be safe. It may not be accepted, and it may not be valued around them. Okay. And when they make that decision, or maybe not your kids, but you as a child, right? When you made that decision that things are not safe for you to be the way who you are, then things are happening. So conditional love and approval. Okay, that's the number one. Conditional love and approval. If you are from a young age, for example, have been taught to behave in a certain way, because in that way, if you've been quiet all the time, you got praised, right? Or if you've been loud, on the flip side now, if you've been too loud, you've been scolded. You learn that being quiet and seen but not heard may actually be the way to go, right? To get the love and the approval that you needed. It's a human need, okay? You need to have love and approval. You need to be approved upon. And when you are a child and you've always been scolded for being loud and excited, you lose that. You stop that. Because it's not safe. Your brain has decided it's not safe to be that way. Now, what happens as a child, when you decide it's not safe, you turn off that natural energy, that curiosity, that emotions that keep receiving, like the emotions that you're feeling, to keep getting that approval that you get for when people are telling you to be quiet, to be seen but not heard. Okay, does it make sense? So that's what happened maybe for you. And I want you to think today, this whole video is for you to reflect and to think, was that like that? How were my parents? How were my caregivers? What was the situation like back then? Try to think. Maybe your energy, your curiosity, and your emotions got shut down because of that. Okay. Or maybe just a little bit stifled. So when that happens, you choose to be quiet. That was a choice that you made as a child to be safe. Now, that choice back then was safe and that was good and that was like what you needed to do. But now you're an entrepreneur. Now you're a salesperson. Now you're a realtor trying to make a living. Now you are a salesperson in a job. And what do you need? What quality do you need? You need curiosity. You need playfulness. You need emotion. You need passion. You need to bring passion to create this know, like, and trust factor with people, right? So you have to be able to be seen authentically. Can you see how this mismatches already? If you have an unhealed awareness of who you were that back then, and you shut down that part, some people call it the shadow work, right? So you shut down that part of yourself to be accepted, but now you're in an entrepreneur setting or in the sales setting, and you are now needing to bring this back out. This is not really working, okay? Unless you heal the fact that the conditional approval and love was needed back then, but no longer needed. You got to heal that part, okay? Sometimes we also stop choosing ourselves because of societal and cultural expectations. So schools, media, social environments, they shape our thoughts and our beliefs as to what is acceptable and what is not. What is the way of behaving and what is not. Okay, so if a child is naturally loud and artistic or unconventionally, but it's taught that success looks like structural and logic and conformity, they might literally mold themselves to be only that. And it's such a shame. Okay, and I get it. It's a problem with school settings and 30 kids in one class and everybody's being pushed into this environment where they have to be conform. And like, I've just talked to my kids the other day and they were telling me that they have 5 minutes to eat their lunch, and if they are what did she say? She said, oh, soon I will only be able to sit on the grass because apparently there's a right way or a wrong way of running. See, can you see what structural, and I see where the schools are coming from. Okay, I see that they are needing to make some kind of order so people don't get hurt, kids don't get hurt. Like, there's a lot of different factors that are falling into this situation. But when you look at that child, when you think about what happens to that child's natural drive, natural play, natural ability to be themselves, that gets stifled. Now, when that happens, clearly you grow up as a child, you're going to be stifled also in your entrepreneurship. You have to take steps to get that back and start realizing that now you're an adult, and back then this was needed behavior back then, but it's no longer needed to hang on. And many adults are not doing that step. They're not recognizing that some of their behaviors are coming from childhood and that are needing to be healed in order to succeed now and continue with their entrepreneurial journey. You just know that you need money. You just know that, you want the trips and you want the excitement and you want all these things. And then you sit there and you wonder, why am I not a leader? Why am I not able to recruit? Why am I not finding leads? Why am I not able to prospect? Why am I not closing any deals? And then compare that with, okay, you are not having the passion and the excitement and the curiosity that you need to perform these tasks because that part of you had been shut down as a child. Okay, does that make sense? So you have been shut down as a child back then, but now in your profession, in your job, in whether, I mean, it doesn't matter what job you're in, really. Now you're being asked to bring everything into the table. Okay. You need to heal that part. You need to find it again. You need to find yourself. The fear of rejection inhibits people, and especially kids, to shut down these parts too. Okay. Kids are wired for connection. You as a child, you were wired as a for connection. And being the outcast or being ridiculed, that is so powerful. And unless you've been taught how to stand on your own feet, how to love yourself, how to be your own person, how to find your tribe, how to look for green flags, red flags, maybe many kids are not being taught this. And I don't know if you've been taught that by your parent or not, but maybe you have not been taught this. Maybe you have just taken someone's rejection and made it personal against you. If someone doesn't like you, you may have thought, oh, maybe they don't like me, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're not wrong. Maybe you're right. Maybe that person is just not your person. Okay. If your marriage is falling apart, maybe that is not anyone's fault. Maybe that person is just not the right person for you. Okay. It doesn't mean anything about you as a person. Maybe it just doesn't fit. Maybe that friend circle wasn't supposed to be yours. Maybe that upline wasn't supposed to be yours. It's not your fault. Okay, you have to learn that confidence comes from green flags, red flags. People have different values. And the goal here is not to blame other people and say, oh, this person is like not liking me because, this is where the gossip comes in. No, you need to identify and connect again with who you are as a person. What is your core values? What do you like? Who are you? What brings you joy? What is your passion? Like, God has given you gifts. And those gifts are buried deep inside, and it's your job to find it aside from other people. And then once you know yourself, see, this is the thing. Once you know who you are and you accept yourself for who you are and love yourself for who you are, now you can start looking for green flags, red flags with other people, because you start recognizing like attracts likes. Okay. But you cannot attract like if you don't know what like is. Does that make sense? You cannot attract who you want to be around if you don't know who you are and what brings you joy. That is the problem with community building, for example. If you do not know, you cannot attract all the people, and it's immense willpower to continue to build a community when you not attract the people, like when you are not having the courage to stand up for yourself and say, this is who I am and this is who I want to be around. And it's hard, I'm telling you. Once you start doing it, people are going to reject you left and right, and people are going to show you who they are, and people are going to ridicule you and talk about behind your back, and they're going to say, you changed and the change is bad. No, you've got to stand against that. If you are acting in alliance with who you are authentically, it doesn't matter how many people tell you you're bad, because you know you're good. Okay. And you're going to find the people that also think you are good. And that is where it's at. So the fear of rejection needs to already be dealt with back then. Okay. So how can you do that? And I know I'm talking a lot about this, but it's really important. I'm going to tell you a quick example. My daughter was at soccer practice yesterday, and she got so upset afterwards. And she said to me, she's like, and I asked her, why are you so upset? And she said, Mom, they don't like me. They didn't pass the ball to me. And she's young, she's little. And I told her, I'm like, maybe that didn't have anything to do with you. Maybe they didn't know you were open. Maybe they didn't know that how to turn the ball so that they can pass to you. Maybe they thought they could pass the ball another way. Maybe it really had zero to do with you. Okay. And I'm like, could that have been a possibility? And so she thought for a second, and she said, yeah, it could be a possibility. Maybe they didn't see me, and I'm like, okay, so what would it feel like if you would think they didn't see me, or that doesn't have anything to do with me? Would you feel better? Would you have better emotions? And she said, yeah, I think I would. I'm like, okay, so now you get to choose, which thought are you going to hang on to? They don't like me, or are you going to hang on to the thought, they might not have seen me, and come and meet that with compassion. Okay, because here is what we forget. We forget that we have the power of choice. We have the power to think about who and what do we want to believe. Okay, what do we want to believe? What thoughts are important to us? And from a thought comes an emotion, and from the emotion comes an action. Okay, when we have deep rooted issues, we need to always evaluate what our family dynamics and our generational patterns were. We have maybe inherited emotional survival mechanisms from our family. Maybe they were not even ours. Maybe our mother reacted in a certain way all the time. And that's how we learned it. Because, we lead by example. We lead our families by example. Our children learn from us. And we, in fact, also learn from our moms, right? And our parents and our caregivers. We learned all these things, and they are now having a big impact on how you are doing business, how you are showing up in your marriage, how you're showing up in your family life. All these patterns are having a huge impact. If you ever struggled with anxiety and people pleasing or perfectionism, even, maybe it's your inner child that is mirroring someone else's behavior. Maybe it's not even your own. Like, I have coached people that are constantly people pleasing, because that is the only, they're not doing it because they want it. They're doing it because that was the only way how they got approval when they were younger. And so they have made a connection subconsciously that people pleasing equals survival. And that is so powerful to break. And you can't break it until you dug down to the root of it. Where is that coming from? Where's the origin of it? Okay. Trauma and negative experiences, that's almost a given. Single painful event can, really kick this off. Maybe, if maybe you've been mocked, for a passion that you had, you forget, you shut it off. If somebody makes fun of you for a passion that you had, if you love the color pink and everything needs to be pink, and people are starting to like say, oh, look at the pink princess, you're gonna very quickly not like pink anymore as a child, because you recognize that loving pink will get you to the outcast. And outcast, outside ring of the fire, like cavemen. Think about the cavemen back then, when you were caught, sent out to the outside of the fire ring, you're going to be facing certain death. So these mechanisms, these survival mechanisms, they are so ingrained in ourselves that these things happen. Okay, of course, if somebody ridicules you for loving the color pink, you're not going to die, but your brain doesn't know that. So your brain spirals you into pain. Your brain spirals you into these behaviors that keep you from that potential risk. So knowing about these fears, these traumas, these negative experiences, and having awareness and reliving them to start realizing as an adult now, does it really kill me if I like the color pink and no one likes it? No, nothing is going to happen. How does it translate to your business? Does it kill you sending out a message and the person says no? No, no, it doesn't kill you. Okay. Does it kill you making a list of 100? No, it doesn't. So do the work. Okay. If that is the work that's required for you to be successful, recognize where your wounds came from being not approved upon when you like the color pink. This is an example, yes. And then keep going. Realize that that is not the way to do it. Okay. It's not going to kill you. You need this task to build a business. You need this task to have a successful funnel of leads coming in, and you just need to keep going. Okay. That's how it is. So once you start realizing all of these things, right, you need to heal, you need to heal that. You need to heal the core. You need to become aware of it. You need to realize your thought patterns behind it. And why do you need to do that? Because when you do that, when you don't do that, it shapes your self-worth. That's just what it is. Your chronic self-doubt comes from unhealed patterns in your childhood. Your perfectionism and your overworking comes as a coping mechanism for unhealed childhood trauma. Your people pleasing and your boundary issues, the fact that you are struggling to say no, the fact that you're always having fear of rejection, the fact that you are not wanting to disappoint others, that comes from an unhealed childhood wound. Your fear of visibility comes from holding back. Your creativity and your leadership comes from fear of judgment because of an old wound. Okay, it is important that you are changing that and that you're healing that, because especially women in entrepreneurship or in sales, we need to thrive on confidence and resilience and authenticity, right? Those are building blocks of being successful in this business. And if we don't have that, we are going to struggle in sales. That's just it. How many women are afraid of sales? It's not because you can't sell. You can sell. You can sell. You're selling every single day. You're telling everybody about the deal at Kohl's. You're telling everybody about this amazing thing you bought on Amazon. That's sales. Okay. You're just not getting paid for it. But because you are not having your wounds dealt with, your rejection wounds, you're not looking into this, you're not healing your self-worth, you're not healing your self-love, you are going to feel guilty about charging anything for your worth. Does that make sense? Like your time, even if you are a coach, you are not going to charge for your time because you don't think you're worth it. Okay. The way how it shows up in entrepreneurship also, if you have unhealed wounds, is that you're attracting a wrong audience. That's happened to me for a long time, and that's something that needs to be fixed. Okay, you're attracting, you're trying to appeal to everybody, you're trying to own, like you're trying to have everyone helping you and everyone liking you, and that does not work. But here's the thing, the right kind of people will love you. You just have to learn how to be courageous enough to show up over and over and over and be okay with the little likes, be okay with a few views, be okay with that, but stick with it, because once you know who you are and what your voice is and what you want to talk about and what your brand is and how you want to sell to people, once you are clear on all these things through a healing journey, it will come, because the people that love what you will have to say will come. Okay, they will come, but you're gonna not go for it and be all of you, because you're gonna be afraid that people don't like you. You gotta be okay with little views, with little likes. It doesn't matter as long as you are authentically you. Okay, it will show up also if you take inconsistent action. Okay, maybe you don't know you're struggling with things, but if you are not taking consistent actions, if you are getting stuck in an imposter syndrome, for example, if you're getting stuck in overthinking every single move, if you're getting stuck in not boldly showing up, but like really being timid, not doing the things, that's a sign. That's a sign you're still holding on to wounds. You are not self-confident yet with your authentic inner voice that drives you forward. You don't have a mission, you don't have a passion yet. Okay? You haven't found yourself. You've got to find yourself. And if you're also having difficulty building authority, now, can you imagine if you're not able to build authority and have clear boundaries with the team? You're trying to build a large team. You're not going to build a large team. You're not going to build a large customer base if you are afraid of the systems and deploying the systems, because some people will go for it and some people won't. Some people will show up and some people won't. And it's really important that you find your space, that you know who you are and you stand on your 2 feet and you are grounded and you are talking about what is important to you. You find your mission and your vision and your values. Okay. Now, this is what we do in the mentorship. Okay. In this 12-week program, because it's really, as you can possibly imagine, this is really hard to do by yourself, right? This is really hard to see your blind spots, to get, and I mean, you can do it by yourself, but without a mentor, without somebody guiding you, without somebody helping you to really pinpoint, ask the questions, you are not likely to make those connections. You're not likely to find your authentic self because it wasn't safe. What makes your inner child think it's safe right now? It's not. You need to have someone who can guide you through it, someone who watches your patterns, someone who can point you and shine the bright light into your blind spots. And this is what we do in the mentorship. So if you are thinking that this is something that you'll be possibly interested in, do me a favor and say help below, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a free mentorship session that we can talk about and see about your unique situation. We can talk about what it is that you are possibly needing to work with, and then you can decide if the mentorship is for you. Okay? All right. I will talk to you all later.